Hey guys, Nathan here. So today we're talking about automatic adjustments in Davinci Resolve. You could use them to set your white balance or set your exposure, or even do both at the same time. And this may sound too good to be true, and well, kind of is, kind of isn't. So we're gonna get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how to use automatic adjustments in Davinci Resolve. But before we do that, be sure to hit the like button and get subscribed for lots more videos like this. I put out 2 Resolve tutorials a week every Monday and Thursday. Anyway, let's get into it. So here we are in Davinci Resolve 16, and this can all be done in the free version of Davinci Resolve. And we just have this shot of me outside holding a bounce above my head, looking real cool. And you may be able to tell this sucker is not white balanced at all. So that's a problem. Well, how do we get it white balanced? So one way that we could do it is we have a lot of references. So I know that this is a white t-shirt and this diffusion above me is also white. So what we can do is we can, let's say we're gonna create a power window. We'll then draw a little square on my shirt. We're then going to go into highlight, and now we're just seeing the waveform for that square. So now let's make some adjustments to try and get it so that everything's on top of each other. We see that the red channel is quite high, so that tells me that we're probably a little bit warm. And now we want to bring our green up. Try and get everything to meet in the middle as best we can. We know we're balanced when everything is white and it's on top of each other, and I'd say we're pretty darn close right there. So if we come out of our highlight, you can see that one part of my shirt is now white, and now we're gonna click the power window to get rid of it, and boom, we're white balanced. But this video is all about automatic adjustments, so check this out. We're gonna reset our node, and now we're gonna go down to this little eyedropper down here, this white balance eyedropper. We're gonna click that and bring it on to a part of our image that is supposed to be white. Now right off the jump, this is actually telling you some great information. It's showing you the values of your red, green, and blue channels. So we have 248 in the red, 213 in the green, and 216 in the blue. So as you can imagine, you want all of those values to be the same when you have white. And that is not the case, and that's also reflected in our waveform here. You see that the red is significantly higher, it's significantly brighter than the other parts of the image, and that's reflected in these numbers. So now, if we click on my shirt, boom. Now, in our waveform over here, everything is white, and we can bring the white balance eyedropper and check on my shirt, and you can see those numbers are a lot closer and pretty much bang on top of each other. And just like that, you've easily white balanced your shot in seconds. I do recommend double checking it with that little square tool, but it's not as useful if you don't have anything white in your shot. Then you may have to get your white balance based on your skin tones, using your vector scope and that little method I showed at the beginning to get your skin on the skin line. But we're not gonna get into that in this video. Let's go to the next adjustments. So we're just going over to our next shot here, and you can see it's this woman in front of a big window, and we have this wall that's kind of blocking our way. Now, if we look down here in our primary wheels, you can see that we have a black dot and we have a white dot. Now these help you get your white and black points. So check this out. So this part of our image is supposed to be black. So we're going to click this and then bring it over something that is supposed to be black. Now what this does is it does exposure adjustments in addition to color adjustments. So you can see it is now black, and it's made adjustments to the lift controls, but it hasn't changed them all uniformly. It's adjusted the red channel a little bit more. So if we go over top of our black part of our image, just like with white balance, if you want something to be completely black, all the red, green, and blue values should also be the same. And that is what this has done. So now we can go through our image and see what that's done. Okay, that's kind of interesting, though it has crushed our blacks. So I'd recommend bringing them up just a little bit, just to get a bit of something back. But again, it's meant for the blackest part of an image as a good kind of starting point. Now we have the white point. So this is to pick something that's white that is one of the brightest parts of your image. Now you don't want to pick something that's blown out necessarily, so let's go with the snow on top of this house. and boom, that's great. And same situation, we can go onto here, and ideally they should all be the same. So in addition to balancing the white, it also adds exposure adjustments to make that the brightest part of the image, and it does it within the gain controls. So we have some control over that if we want to bring it down and change it. And you can see it's also made color adjustments, so it's made a little adjustment in the green channel. So that's all fine and dandy and sets you up for a not bad place to start building a grade upon, and it's also a great learning tool because it teaches you about balancing out your black and your white. Though I do recommend when balancing blacks, I personally like to go into my shadow controls because I can then make adjustments, and if I go down here, I can select the lower range, so I can just select the darkest parts of my image to make adjustments to, because if we're using the lift controls, it does select a larger tonal range of your image than the shadow controls. But it's whatever works for you and your particular situation. So next, we're going to right click and we're gonna reset the node grade. So now we have the automatic color correction. Now this actually uses Davinci Resolve's neural engine to analyze your image and tries to give you an accurate balance based on a Rec. 709 Gamma 2.4 color space. So we can go in and click our automatic, and it gives us a pretty pleasing result, actually, fairly similar to what we saw with the white and black point, but it's supposed to balance out your whites and just give you a fairly straightforward image. So one thing I will mention with the auto balance tool that isn't particularly great is it doesn't make the adjustments in any way that you can control them. When we used the white and black points, they adjusted the lift and gain, and you could make adjustments later. But with the auto balance, it doesn't actually show you what it's made adjustments to, so it's not as great of a learning tool, I feel, though it can give you a good reference point. So to keep it as a reference, you could right click and grab a still. So now you can go into your gallery, double click to wipe it over top of your image. Now we're just gonna close that. And then you can just slide that over top here. And then let's say if we reset our node grade, we now have a good reference to go off of. Or what we could also do, we're just gonna hit Control Z to undo that deletion of the node grade. We're gonna get rid of our image wipe. We're then going to click Control Y on our keyboard to add a new version. And now we can reset our node grade. And if we hit Control B, we can then switch between our versions to check out our reference and our version that we're currently working on. You can also go into clips here, and then we can just right click to see our versions and rename them. And if you want to learn more about versions, check out my tutorial up here. And one other cool thing about the auto balance tool is if we reset our node grade, we can go into the edit page. So you can also apply auto balance from the edit page, which is fairly handy. So I'm just going to select these two clips here, and then we're going to go up to color, down to auto color, or you can press Alt Shift C on your keyboard. And now we have this shot balanced. But check this out. This shot is looking pretty horrible. So what's going on? Well, let's go into the color page. So if we're just gonna reset this node grade here, and you can see that it's a very dark shot. So now if we click the auto balance tool, what it's trying to do is it's trying to expand everything out as much as it can, but it looks absolutely horrible in a situation like this because it's supposed to be a really dark night shot. It's someone laying in bed late at night on their phone with just the phone illuminating their face. It's not supposed to be a particularly bright shot, so that's why you get this horrifying image. So it works pretty good, but it's not great for all situations. But it is a great learning opportunity to discover that you do not need to fully expand your waveform because it's not going to look great in all shots. And if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. So if at the very top of your waveform is supposed to be the brightest thing you can display, and the very bottom is the darkest thing you can display, then it kind of makes sense if you think about it that not every shot needs to be at the very high end of that. And this shot's a great example of that. So if we right click and reset the node grade, it doesn't make any sense that her face here should be as bright as this window because it's a dark bedroom. It should not be as bright as outside in the middle of the day on her face just from her phone screen. So it's a good thing to think about for sure when going forward and grading your projects. So the automatic adjustments can absolutely help, but I would not recommend relying on them, more just using them as a tool to potentially learn from and in some cases make things a little bit faster. So anyway folks, I hope that helps you out with color grading and using automatic adjustments in your own projects. If you like this video, be sure to hit that button and get subscribed for lots more videos like this. Anyway, have yourself a good one. Okay, bye.